to color it up. Beyond the gray, beyond the noise, there are distant lands of plastic and static grass, where heroes rise, where monsters clash, where dice still roll, and we become kids again.
Forgotten fables, dust on the box, ink on the brush, memory sleeping in a battered case. One more wash and the past wakes up. One more highlight brings it back to grace. So raise the banner, thin the paint, let the colors cut through all the gloom. We are not done with the old quest yet. There are monsters waiting in the room. In a world where everything is grim, we're going to color it up again, with plastic dreams and static grass, with heroes, monsters, dice and friends. Let the old world burn bright tonight. Let the washes run like rain. We'll fight the gray with red and gold and become kids again. There are goblins laughing in the dark. There are warriors lost beneath the mountain. There are dragons carved in memory, and old paint drying by the fountain. Every scar and every crooked line tells a story from another age. Not perfect, no, but full of life, like a legend walking off the page. So strike the chord, let the synths arise. Let the bagpipes call across the stone. From Asturias to the dungeon door, we were never painting them alone. In a world where everything is grim, we're going to color it up again, with plastic dreams and static grass, with heroes, monsters, dice and friends. Let the old world burn bright tonight. Let the washes run like rain. We'll fight the gray with red and gold and become kids again. Roll the dice, open the gate, light the torch before it's late. Brush in hand, heart awake, every mistake is ours to make. Neon skies and Celtic fire, rusted blades and painted wire. Old school magic, loud and true, one more quest for me and you. Not everything needs to be grim. Not every shadow needs to win. Give me color, give me chaos, give me monsters in the candlelight. Give me heroes with chipped swords and a table full of tiny wars. In a world where everything is grim, we're going to color it up again, with plastic dreams and static grass, with heroes, monsters, dice and friends. Let the old world burn bright tonight. Let the washes run like rain. We'll fight the gray with red and gold and become.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rush the Wash. How is everybody doing Tonight, I just want to paint something easy, something fast, something that doesn't take too long to actually do it. And this is the guy who's gonna be it. It's a rogue, it's a simple miniature, it doesn't have too much, it's just simple surfaces, simple stuff going on. And I just want to have something ready by tomorrow morning to make sure that I have spent my night doing my favorite thing, which is painting miniatures. This is the volunteer for such a thing. Welcome back to Ras the Wash. My name is Miguel and tonight's quest is gonna be the rogue. This guy over here, simple miniature as I said, big cape, a tartan, like one of those, you know, Scottish kilts, I think it's a kilt. And also he has some pants, some small boots, a big, very spiky concussion hammer, I don't know how to call this thing. And also I like this knife, that it looks like a special forces knife over here. So I think it's gonna be looking quite interesting after I finish it. Welcome back to Ras the Wash, everybody. Let's see, I'm gonna make sure that everything is working perfectly, and I want to make sure that all the stuff that I needed to be around here, the sound is working. I made a big effort to make sure that this was working, and I just want to make sure that my chat is on, that everything is working the way it should be working. So just give me a second, bear with me, listen to a little bit of music and tell me, how do you think I should be painting this? I think I'm gonna make sure that this cape is actually painted dark, because he's gonna be a rogue, so he needs to hide in, you know, the shadows and things working for him to be able to backstab with that knife on the chest. Let me just check. Alright, vamos a ver. Let's see that my chat is working the way that it should be working. How's everybody doing? What are you guys painting tonight? Are you painting anything tonight? Are you guys having fun? Is your hobby doing what it needs to be doing, which is relaxing you, not being something difficult, not being something stressful? Let me know. I have done a few changes, probably you can see that in my my stuff over here. I just need to make sure that everything is working the way it should be working, so everything looks good so far. I'm gonna see if the chat is working the way I want it to work. I'm not sure, I'll tie it to something else. If it's not working the way it needs to be working, it's fine, I can go back to it and change a couple of settings. But you will notice that the screen where I paint things is a little bit bigger today. My screen is a little bit bigger today. But the chat, I'm not really sure if it's gonna be working. Anyways, ¿cómo está todo el mundo? How's everybody? Let's start with this. I'm going to start with the cape. The cape is such a big surface and I wanted to make it look dark, mysterious, etc. I also see that this guy is not wearing any shirt, but he has like this interesting clothing over here that might be tied to his mask over here. So I need to choose a color for that. And not only that, I need to make sure that this, it's the central piece regarding colors. So I need to decide what type of colors I'm gonna put in that. But before any of that, let's get to the big surface. We're gonna use ultramarine blue, my favorite color for painting dark clothing, because I can highlight it with a little bit of ice yellow and it's just going to do the job perfectly fine. I just shook it a little bit because it always decants quite a lot. And here we go. Have you guys painted anything exciting this weekend? My weekend has been quite eventful, but not regarding miniatures. I've been walking around Bucharest, seeing the city, enjoying the beginning of a summer. Not quite summer yet, but almost summer-like. I mean, it's great to see the people walking around, having fun, going for, you know, drinking coffees, beers, etc, etc. Just enjoying the nice weather out there, which is something that I was really missing, because Bucharest is one of those places in Europe where you basically, basically you have two seasons, and two main seasons and two very short seasons at that. The two main seasons are winter and summer. It is super cold here. I mean, not as cold as in some places in the United States, I guess, or in Northern Europe, but quite cold. You get snow, And compared to the weather that I have in Spain, where I'm from, in Asturias, which is also cold in the winter, it is not very cold. Okay, Spain might get where I'm from to around 4 Celsius, in rare occasions below 0, and you will have snow sometimes, mostly at the end of spring, mostly in the mountains. But here in Bucharest, it snows every winter without failure, and when it snows, okay? It's not like a little bit. You get proper snow, you get proper coverage, so that's something. Now the summertime is very hot, like super hot, proper hot. And for someone like me who's used to a little bit more temperate climate, it is very difficult to get used to either one of those ranges of temperature. So now that the weather is slightly better, and as I said, this place has 2 seasons basically. Spring is very short, the autumn is very short, it becomes very cold very soon, it becomes very hot very soon. Enjoying some days where the weather is nice enough to feel like you can wear a t-shirt and shorts and not feel suffocating heat. It is super nice, and this was such a weekend. It was a very nice weekend to do that, so I enjoyed a walk through Bucharest. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Western Europe, but it's such a beautiful place to visit. Hello David, bonsoir, comment ça va? I'm talking about here, the little Paris of Eastern Europe, Bucharest, and how I was spending my weekend walking around. There is a nice store here called Red Goblin that specializes in selling games, board games, a little bit of Warhammer, a little bit of this and that, Dungeons and Dragons, anime figures, you know, anything that is nerd style stuff, it's in there. I've been to that place a couple of times, but not this weekend. So what used to be back in the day when I lived here for the first time, I lived in the early 2000s in Romania, and there was nothing. If you were a nerd, no encontrabas nada. There was nothing. And I'm seeing that my chat box is not showing up here, so I have to do something. I have to do something about that. So David, if you can type a couple of messages every now and then, so until I figure that out, because it's pissing me off. I just want this thing to work. So bear with me for a second, okay? This has to work the way I want it to work. It has to work like that. It has to. There is no way this thing is not gonna work the way I want it to work. Because I swear, I've been working on changing things, making them more dynamic, more things happening on my stream. And after I click save and I go back to painting miniatures, then I find out that all these things that I have been working on are not working. So I'm not I'm not happy about that. Because, you know, things are like that. 1, 2, test. Okay, it's not showing on the chat. As you can see, there is a chat box over here. Let me see if I can put my finger. It should be this way. Ah, my god, the thumb is not gonna. The overlay is cut on the bottom on my side. The overlay is cut on the bottom on my side. What do you mean? You cannot see what exactly? You cannot see the paints, you cannot see the chat box, you cannot see something. I'm gonna see what is happening on YouTube. I see, yeah, you're right. There is something down there that is not showing, and okay, on top of that, there should be something else. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Let me just move this. Can I move it, please? Thank you. All right, let's see. No. Stream elements overlay. Let me see. Rush the wash overlay. Let me see, and I can move it up. Okay, what about now? Boom. Now I need to move something else. What the heck, man? Why do I spend so much time doing this? Okay, and now here we are. Now I think it should show properly, right? Now everything is moving here. Okay, now the freaking chat. The chat is pissing me off. Okay, now you should see the title on the bottom. I've done that. And now is the other part of things, which is in here. Alright, let's go to this part. Let's go to here. Let's go to that. This doesn't need to disappear. I don't need that. And now I need to clean on this. When is this gonna be exactly how I want it to be? I don't know, guys. Every time that I try to do it, okay, it's something happening. And I don't know if I need to, because I use something called stream elements. And there is something very cool here, because I can actually create my own stuff in stream elements to make sure that they show where they need to show. And there is an overlay, and this is the overlay, and it's right here. And why is this not connecting? Okay, copy, overlay. Okay, I see your chat here. This is pissing me off. I see it here, but why is this not showing in here? Just give me a second, okay? Because this is gonna get fixed, I promise you. All right, main stream overlay, stream. Okay, properties, and now I click on here, and I'm gonna spend all this. And there you go, and you should show up, right? Or are you not showing up? Why not? You should be on top of everything. This should be showing. Okay, can you see this title button right now? Is everything there, guys? Let me know. Deal with my hand moving things. Oh, by the way, I'm painting this guy, which is great because right now I'm waiting for it to dry so I can go into the next thing and not mix. Is a rogue, as you can see. It has the special forces knife, this is small shield, which I'm gonna put something in there, and then we have this tartan. I think it's a kilt, that's how they call it in Scotland, which I can do some freehand on it and just decide. You guys can you guys give me like a clan, like a Scottish clan that you like, you fancy the colors, so I can paint those. Okay, kind of okay. The rogue isn't displaying on the video window. Yes, that's on purpose. But now let's move it a little bit, right? How about we put it somewhere a little bit less insulting? Like, let me just move it a little bit here. There. And it should be now. Alright. Something like this. Something on the corner. Like that, maybe. It's not insulting, but it's not too clear, is it? I need to find a better place. Or here. There, why not? Yeah, I think that's fine there. I'm gonna just click on that. But where is my overlay? Where are my chat boxes? Where is this? Why is it not showing? Let me see if I can put it over here, and maybe it's gonna show there. Stream elements. Okay, main stream overlay, and this should be top of everything. I don't know. The chat box is not showing. Okay, let me do something. Let me do some of my magic. One, change this, and I'm gonna change it to something else, okay? If you give me a second, because I want the chat to show. It's a pity if the chat is not showing there. Let me just do this, and then pop out, and then copy this. But I chose the font, I chose the colors, I chose everything, and this thing is just not wanting to do that. So now you can see the chat. Yes, but this is not what I want it to be. But anyways, let's move it a little bit further. And here it's gonna cover though that area that I had to say chat, but I'm gonna make it bigger because why not? Okay, boom, there you go. Make do with what we got. Bada bing, bada bang, bada bing, bada boom. It is what it is. Anyways, as I were, be happy with what you got. It's what it is. We did ultramarine blue for the cape. If you have any idea of any Scottish clan, Irish clan, anything like that, that we can paint this thing with those colors, that would be great. And I'm gonna lower this a little bit so we can have a better, there you go, color palette for that. Okay, I think I'm gonna paint the boots as well. So we have two colors in that same range for the dark gray. And I'm gonna try to get this guy sorted out. Rogues are my favorite type of characters in Dungeons and Dragons. Whenever I was reading about, you know, second edition Dungeons and Dragons, and I got to start playing quite late in my lifetime because I knew about Dungeons and Dragons. I had read some Dragon magazines and Dungeon magazines. Those were very cool actually, because they gave you so many ideas to play the game. In particular, I like Dungeon because it gave you modules, adventures to play. I love those. So when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, I was 17, 18 years old, I guess, and I had been playing on my PlayStation a video game called Tenchu. Tenchu is a ninja video game. If you guys ever played Tenchu and you are like a little bit obsessed like I got with ninjas, you realize that ninjas are freaking cool, okay? So ninjas are these guys who hide in the shadows, who do spy missions, and who basically are trained to take enemies who are way more powerful than them through cunning and smart tactics. And I was very mesmerized about this idea. I thought it was super cool because I'm a small guy, but if you can use intelligence and technique to do that job, it sounded like, okay, that's pretty cool. Actually, that's super neat. So ninjas were my go-to idea of what should be an adventurer in Dungeons and Dragons. And then I read about rogues, I read about thieves, I read about what things they can do, like backstabbing and multiplying the damage because they will get someone from the rear and basically make their days end very miserably. Tenchu was like that. If you were able to play in PlayStation 1, by the way, if you were able to play the video game in such a way that you could get behind your enemy on a side before they will actually realize you were there, you will make this animation, which was a fatality, and kill them in one stroke. No combat needed. And actually the game rewarded this type of gameplay because they really wanted you to go and do things skillfully in a very short time and eliminate the enemies with this means stealth. It was a stealth game, adventure game, very cool stuff. So my first characters, the ones that I actually made for Dungeons and Dragons, were rogues. I like the idea of the rogue. Nothing to write home about, not as powerful as, let's say, a wizard at high level, not as powerful as a warrior at lower level, but a very cool concept, and I like that. You were the guy who was doing the dirty job that neither the wizard or the warrior could do at the beginning of your campaigns, because they wouldn't have the spells or the ability to eliminate as many enemies. And sometimes you just need somebody that's like, okay, chill, I'll go through the window, get the key and open the lock so we can get the stupid Bart who has been mesmerizing and having fun with the with the guy who we need to actually deal with. Rogues, therefore, are very cool concept in Dungeons and Dragons, in my opinion. But nowadays, what I saw with Dungeons and Dragons is that, in my opinion, okay, and now you guys decide if I'm wrong or right, or if you are within my age gap that you actually think it's cool, what I'm saying, Dungeons and Dragons sucks in one sense in particular. The rules, let me get this straight. I played 5th edition and I like the streamlining of rules because I'm not a min-maxer. I'm a person who likes telling stories, and I like the rules to actually accommodate for the story and make it fun, okay? I like crunchy rules, but sometimes I just don't have the time to actually go through all the crunchiness in the rules. I'm painting with dark steel, by the way. You know, guys, I'm gonna stick to the starter sets. So what happens is with Dungeons and Dragons in particular, if you were playing 2nd edition, it's a crunchy rule set. 1st edition I think is even crunchier. I never played 1st edition, but Advanced Dungeons and Dragons was super crunchy. And don't get me wrong, I love it. But I want to learn a new edition once in a lifetime, probably. So that's why I stick to all games. It's also because my thinking limitations are significant, and therefore I cannot put my brain through the process of learning new systems every 4 or 5 years, okay? So that's something in there that is impeding me to actually not do that. But I like the fact that this particular character in second edition or in third edition was pretty cool. It was something that you could play with, and you will feel useful without being super overpowered, at least in my gameplays. Vivid Flesh now. Let's go to the apps. Look at this guy. He's got a proper six-pack, eh? Look at that. He's fit as heck. And Tenchu was my gateway to that way of thinking. I love Tenchu, man. That was such a cool video game. And I think I'm gonna play it one of these days again, because I have those emulators. But there is something that you probably have noticed, that you have very good memories of all video games until you have to play them again, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, so the graphics weren't that great. But if you get through that ick, you have a lot of fun again. I love retro gaming quite a lot, and there are so many video games that you know, have forged the way that I see fantasy. One of them I discussed the other day. I think one of the most influential games regarding how I perceive fantasy was Golden Axe, for sure. GURPS is amazing. Yeah, I know GURPS. Yeah. One rule set, crunchy, with many options, realistic combat rules for social interactions, and lots of source books for creating your campaigns. I think I played GURPS when I was maybe 14, 15 years old. Somebody else was the Dungeon Master, or the Director de Juego, the game director. Those are games from another time. And I don't know if the new generations are actually ready or willing to put the effort that we actually went through to just get to play these games. And that's kind of sad if you come to think of it, because we spent so many hours at school, during recess, after school, talking to our friends, sitting down together in front of a book, rolling characters, not playing, not even playing, rolling just characters and trying to figure out how to create characters. Was such a I don't know, it was fun. It was such a crunch at the time, but it was super fun when you come to think of it, because the only thing that we did at the beginning was creating characters and seeing how your roles will come out and what you could make out of those roles. And if you come to think of it, just having fun rolling characters, it's quite commendable for any rule set, because the fun part is actually playing, isn't it? And we spend more hours sometimes creating all these guys who will be our avatars in the game set than playing the game itself. Alright, this guy has not many surfaces to work with, which is great because I need to go to bed early today. What about this, guys? Give me any option, or otherwise I need to come up with something, and I need to make it muted down, okay? So don't give me something super yellow or super pink or super neon, okay? Give me something that you think it will look good. This is gonna also affect how I paint the pants underneath, and I will greatly appreciate if you gave me something ASAP. Okay, I'm gonna paint this thing, this anime mask, and I need to come up with something that gives me a little bit of color without going way too overboard. And today I feel adventurous, so why not? I'm gonna use, you know already, arcade turquoise. Why? Because I can basically darken it as needed, and it still will feel raster like a nice blue. Okay, so this turquoise is gonna be used here. I want to go with colors that don't look too strident as of now. Maybe that kilt is gonna kilt. My god, I call it kilt. Is it a kilt? I think, is it? That kilt is gonna be the one bringing the extra color, extra contrast, extra personality to this guy. But yeah, remember those times, okay? I have no knowledge in Tartan lore, okay? Hola primo, ¿qué tal? I'll be picking out rivets while you paint. Stompa almost done. Okay, maybe you know anything about this Scottish lore. If you have any name, okay? Mac something, just come up with it. We'll look it up and we'll find out which kilt we are gonna paint in this guy, please. Plain and simple. Just give me an idea, okay? I'll take first come, first serves, because I need to figure out how to paint that. That's the part where we're gonna do the freehanding and the freehand, I guess. Freehanding, that sounds weird. The freehand on this miniature, whilst still keeping it, you know, interesting and contrasty. So, picking rivets, is that a one-on-one? McDonald's. You know what? F it. Let's do McDonald's. If it's red and yellow, I swear to God. Okay? Okay, I'm fine with that. Spain, why not? Let me see. McDonald's. Okay, dame un segundo. This is not working, is it? This is not working. What about this? Un momento, mis queridos amigos. Un momento, before I do that. This goes here, it goes here or nothing. Ah, no. No. Or maybe I'm making it wrong. Couple of seconds. Just give me a millisecond here. Alright, edit. Is this... Should I move this? Or... Okay, position, size. Let's see. Position and size in page. Top left. Center widget. Rotation. How do I know where I should be putting this? Because maybe it's not like that. Custom. No, this is not a problem. Position, size, and... Okay, can I move it? Can I not? This is movable. Oh my gosh. Streams chat. Position size. Widget is locked. Unlock it in the layers. Okay, just give me a millisecond, okay? Okay, your streams chat. And what if I move it here? Because I'm trying to move this thing. Okay, how do I see this? But it should be there, or shouldn't it be? This is crazy stuff. I'm trying to figure out where to put everything in my stream, so I get to see you guys chatting on the box. But it's not showing what I wanted to show. Preview. Okay, opening new tab. Can you show me, please? Chotomate. Nani kore? Okay. Chotomate da yo. A ver, let me see. If you guys can start seeing me on the chat, no, nothing works. Okay, McDonald's. Don't take that seriously. Man, you are the first one to type there. So, screw it. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's put the chat box inside the stream that I'm doing because I want it there. This is one of those worst streams I ever done because of all these technical issues, but I'm painting it as fast as possible, so that's fine as well. So let's go to chat, stream elements, aquí está, and there is something here that I need to figure out, but as soon as I figure it out, it's gonna work fantastically. Okay, done. Fix it. McDonald's. Let me see the chat for, not the chat, sorry, the McDonald's. Leave, go away. You're pissing me off. Let me see. McDonald's okay, Tartan Kilt. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so it's a... Well, I'll be damned. We have 3 types. we have 3 types, okay? Let me just go here. Alright. Let me just check this one. And is this it? Alright, no, this is mine. This is not automatic. Let me just check if I can. I think it is. Okay. Ah, god dang it. Nothing is showing today. Anyways, discard. Alright. Let me see if I can because this is, I need to show you what type of things I have in front. Nothing is working today. Nothing is working today. Come on, Windows. Come on, mate. Okay, now I can do it. I think I can now. Okay. Nice painting. No, this is YouTube. Oh my gosh, there's nothing working here. Whatever. Okay, if you go and you check a website, any website, and you just type McDonald's tartan, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so many tartans. So I have green and blue, red and green and blue again. I need to show you this because otherwise it's just impossible to explain these colors, okay? And I need to figure out, let me see, I need to figure out how to do this, how to show this on my thingy, okay? Video capture, okay, let me see if I can figure it out. Come on, man. Show my screen, and then I have window capture. Just give me a second, and you need to show. There we are. Okay, and now I can move to this. Just give me a second. These are the three freaking things that are saying this is McDonald's family. So which one should I use? Please help me. The Isles, Slit, or Clan Ranald? Red and black should contrast nicely with all the blues. I think so. Yeah, it will be okay, I guess. Is this black or kind of greenish? What do you think? I could do the middle one. Okay, Slit. Yeah, that one. I could do that one. I think it's quite feasible to do that one. And actually, it's very easily to understand that this is Scottish tartan, right? Because that's super common tartan for that. Looks the easiest. Looks can be deceiving though. But yeah, I think it's probably the easiest because it doesn't have that many small lines here and there, right? Okay, and that then is gonna let me know how should I paint the pants underneath. And I don't want to go overboard. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the same turquoise, which I'm using right now for the pants. So we have a very limited palette on this guy. All right, let's go back to this guy, okay? Main painting. So I'm gonna paint these pants underneath with this turquoise, and then by darkening that, it's not gonna be so many colors. It's not gonna give us a headache when we look at him. All right, let's go with that. So why am I getting myself in trouble? I'm thinking, I'm gonna paint this guy fast. Yeah, well, we'll see. As soon as I start with the tartan underneath, how fast that goes. This paint is getting a little bit dry. I don't want to get more. It's just a simple coat, so I'm just not gonna be careful with that. David, are you painting anything these days? Nandring? So looks like the transparent overlaps will work well too. I think so. I think it's gonna look nice. It's just the right amount of color. You know, everything is gonna be cool colors with the exception of the skin. And then the tartan is gonna be like, bam, right in your face. So, well, have you guys been playing Dungeons and Dragons lately? The new edition, how is it? Have you been in the loop with it? Is it something I should be learning how to play? Even consider buying the books. There are so many books nowadays. I mean, I love the fact that there are so many books, and at the same time, it just discourages me because I just have such a massive collection of books already. And I don't know. I'll rather go to drive-through RPG and get, you know, the old second edition books with all those nice modules and whatnot. But new editions, I don't know, they have a lot of things that might not be my cup of tea. Is 6th edition out? I think so, isn't it? They were talking about it all the time. 5th edition, it's like 5.5 edition. It's a weird thing, I'm not really sure. Yes, painting some Trench Crusade proxies with AK Quick Gen. Still have to grasp how to use these paints. AK Quick Gen, as I told you guys, it's a little bit different from Contrast. Contrast within Contrast has quite a few differences, okay? You have this contrast like this one that covers very well, and then you have other contrasts that are very light, and other contrasts that, unless you're very careful, you're gonna screw up. So AK Gen, overall, the ones that I've been trying so far, the Quick Gen, all the paints are more or less quite similar in their behavior. So once you understand that, it becomes quite easy to paint with them. Okay, Let's do the leather, just in case. I don't want to screw up the tartan before time. And I just noted I didn't paint the belt over here, so I'm gonna do that. But let's do the leather for all the bags and whatnot. And this is where we're gonna have a chance also to do a little bit of warm colors with some brown snakebite leather, of course. So yeah, I think the 6th edition is either out or and that's exactly what pisses me off about modern Dungeons and Dragons. Back in the day, you will buy the books, and that was it. Okay, and I have the 5th edition books, and I also bought them on their online platform. There was an app on the phone, or there is an app. And we played quite a lot before COVID hit in Malaysia. I had a small group and we played a lot, and we played a lot of very cool adventures. I adapted some 2nd edition adventures to 5th edition, and it was super fun. But once COVID hit, we couldn't play anymore. We didn't want to play online anyways. And I just got out of touch of the game until now. But what I noticed is that this, even though I had the rules online, then they were doing updates and updates and updates, and the books that you have bought, they were starting to become like a subscription. And I was like, I understand the business mentality behind that, but it's so cheap in that sense. You know what I mean? Everything is like Netflix or season passes, and I mean, we make more money than our parents, but everything that we buy is so cheap. It's so caduca muy pronto. It expires way too fast. It becomes obsolete very fast. And I like, for instance, I like old cars. Okay, whenever I buy cars, I prefer buying something that is 20 something years old than anything nowadays with 3,000 screens and bobs and whistles. And I don't want the car to decide for me how to drive. I like things that I drive myself, if it makes any sense, because I feel whenever I get a new car or something like that, I rent quite a lot of cars when I go back to Spain or something like that, and whenever the car just starts doing this or is beeping at me, it pisses me off. I want my things to be mine, and I want my things to be under me, not to tell me how to do stuff. And back then it felt like when you got a role-playing game, the role-playing game was saying, this is your world and you can do whatever you want. There is no wrong way of playing this as long as it's making you happy. But nowadays everything is quite loaded, politically speaking, and a lot of things are telling you how to do things and how fun should look like, and if you don't do it that way, you're a bigot or you are absolutely wrong. And I'm feeling a little bit disenchanted from some of these whatchamacallit, brands, but it's not brand, franchises. There you go, that was the word. Some of these franchises, because they are alienating people my age in a way. It's like, look, I told you guys the other day, okay? I want my evil guys to be freaking evil in the very deep sense of the word. I want evil antagonists to be bad people. Bad people. There is no ambiguity here. There is no gray areas. There is no redemption in some cases. I'd rather have no redemption for the bad guys that my heroes have to kill, because I want them to kill without remorse. I want them to feel like I'm doing everybody a good service by just dealing with this freaking asshole, okay? This demon cultist who's trying to bring the end of the world and is doing unspeakable things to other people. And going back to a little bit of ultramarine blue to paint the handle of this knife. And quite often nowadays I feel like, wait a minute, why are these orcs dressed as Mexicans? There's this famous picture of an orc tribe. They're dressed as if they were vaqueros, or maybe not Mexicans, maybe even people from, La Pampa in Argentina. And my brain, my simple 90s nerd brain cannot comprehend that orcs can be good people. For the sake of some stories, maybe you can consider that, but a whole tribe of good people, and yeah, it's kind of... I don't want to talk politics when I play fantasy games. I just want somebody to go down in a dungeon and destroy evil things and don't think twice about it. And if you want, maybe you might want to play with the evil guys, and you want to be as evil as it can be. Okay, fine. And if you get killed by somebody that is good, at least you know that you deserved it. But I don't know, fantasy is becoming a little bit too convoluted, or maybe not anymore. Maybe it's changing, because you can see a lot of old style games trying to get back to that, trying to do things as they used to be, if it makes any sense. All right, let's do the... enough with my preaching. Let's do the... I don't know if you guys agree. Just let me know, okay? Because sometimes I feel like, I don't know, I'm just old guard, a grown art, gatekeeping, whatever you want to call it. I don't want to gatekeep anything. I just don't want to feel like I'm a weirdo when I do things like that. It's like, you need evil to understand what goodness is. And role-playing games are actually such a useful tool for people to experiment with moral boundaries and things like that. I think as a teacher, I can tell you, I think role-playing games are such a wonderful tool for many things. I used to hate maths when I was a kid, but then all of a sudden you're starting to crunch numbers all the time just to figure out if something is hitting, something is defending, what are the chances of you hitting something. What the heck? You think if my teacher in secondary was teaching me probability, was doing it in the same fashion that Warhammer will do it, when I just try to crunch numbers in my head and try to figure out, okay, if I charge here and I got this bonus for charge and I got these lances, but my guys are weapon skill 2 and these guys are weapon skill 4, and I have 2 attacks and they have only 1 attack, and they blah blah, freaking gamify these things. And kids will learn a lot of stuff just by trying to figure out these things. But if we get that from it, if the mechanics become simplistic, in a sense that they don't give you the depth for the game, and also the morals become gray instead of simple morals and very ambiguous data points for what happens in success or not, I think we are diminishing the value of the game, both for the morals and both for the mathematics. I have never played Dungeons and Dragons, but it's something I am keen to get into. No idea where to start though. I like the idea of making my own campaign and story. That's where you should start. Get the game. And you don't need to buy the game, okay? Let me be honest with you. You can find many role-playing games that are fantastic, and they don't need to be Dungeons and Dragons. But if you want to find players, Dungeons and Dragons is possibly the best way. It's like playing Warhammer 40k. You will find plenty of players. Now, beware, my friend. Because out there are as many players as people are. And sometimes it's safer, and I recommend this from the bottom of my heart, okay? Start playing with friends. Really, honestly, start playing with your friends. Because if you start playing with your friends, you know where more or less everybody has their moral boundaries and what they want to do in a game, okay? It's much easier like that. Whereas if you try to find a club or people who play differently, you're gonna find yourself in situations where you will be discussing things with people that you don't really trust, and they have their quirks and their philias and their phobias. And you can get into very strange stuff with Dungeons and Dragons players. Role-playing games, you have the meat and potatoes people like myself, get a sword, go to a dungeon, kill some people, save the world, haha, happy times. And then you have the people who have kinks and weird stuff going on. Beware. there are very strange people out there for this, okay? As long as all the players are on the same page, exactly, it's all good. Make the game whatever you want it to be, in my opinion. Exactly. Exactly. You might have your own things. You might have your own kinks. You might have some weird stuff going on in your head that I don't disagree with. It's just your stuff, okay? But some people project all these things into the game, and when they come and they have these fantasies in your head, and you just try to be like imagine you are the dungeon master, you have to depict the situation in a tavern, and some guys will just want to pretend to, which is so weird, pretend to be hitting on the maid, the woman serving the, you know, the wench, the one serving the beers and whatnot, and you just want to, you know, pitch a story and tell them, hey guys, there are goblins in this place and they're just attacking the caravans. And these guys are like, no, wait a minute, that can wait. I need to talk to the girl who's serving the beers. How hot is she? How big are, you know, how big is her bosom? And you're like, what the heck? Are we gonna spend the next 30 minutes talking about this? Like, really? Seriously? Is this what this game is gonna be about? Okay. And also that, see? I'm not sure how I feel about the Dungeons and the Dragons universe. Is it worth getting invested in, or was it better in the past? If you ask me, I like it better in the past. I like it better in the past. It felt, or it was me, maybe. It felt the fantasy was high, but it wasn't that high, okay? Nowadays, if you watch the movie, for instance, the newest Dungeons and Dragons, it is like that. It is very fun if you are okay with, you know, high fantasy. It is super fun, actually. But I am a little bit more down to earth on that regard. I like a little bit lower fantasy settings. That's why I like Warhammer. I told you guys already. I like the setting where magic exists and is super powerful, but freaking don't touch it, because next thing you know, a demon will be eating your soul and you will be dead. And people around will die. And yeah, magic, cool, be careful. So Dungeons and Dragons, on the other hand, most of the time, that magic is not only super powerful, but it's super useful, and a lot of people can do magic. So balancing that out requires for your setting to actually actively want to balance it out, whereas many settings actually don't. They just want you to be able to cast fireball and destroy everything in the room, and it becomes very boring very easily, very fast. I like dangerous, mysterious magic. I like the level of magic that you get also in Lord of the Rings, which is very few people know how magic works, very few people can work magic, and very few people maybe knows even that magic exists, because it's a little bit more complex. It's just very subtle in many ways. So yeah, that's my point of view on things like this. So it depends. How do you deal with murder hobos? That sucks. That sucks. Those people are okay if you just play the typical kick in the door dungeon, kill the monsters, loot, and rinse and repeat. Those people are Hero Quest players. Fantastic guys to play Hero Quest. Awful people to play intrigue, mystery, and investigation plots. Or if you are willing to put the effort of making voices and creating personas and, you know, making a proper role play, which it has its caveats, because you're gonna end up with all these theater majors trying to, you know, do impressions as if they were in a Hollywood production, which is fun on its own right, but sometimes you just want to kick the door and kill some goblins, okay? That's why I'm saying you have to be careful with Dungeons and Dragons. You have to be careful with role-playing games. You have to be very specific about what do you want to do in the game, because there is no solution. There is no one fits all for this game. This is a very, very customizable type of experience for games. Whereas war games, the most differences that you might have is do you want to be crunchy or do you want to be fluffy? Like somebody that wants to be a game about what happens if we roll the dice and I'm gonna charge here no matter what because this is why I painted this guy or whatever, screw it, okay? And then you have the tournament players who are like, okay, I'm gonna max this thing out of earth and I'm gonna destroy you, but because I know the rules and we both know the rules, it's gonna be a very competitive game, and usually they are quite okay people. And then there are also the assholes who need to prove something and they really are not that great at the game, but because they just are like that, you know, they're gonna make your life a little bit miserable. So games are a difficult environment if you know what I mean, okay? If you go to tournaments, you're gonna see the best and the worst of players ever, and there are people whose whole personality revolves about being able to play a game very well, very competitive. But I think it's a male trait to be competitive on any stupid thing. I was reading about these guys who are doing sauna competitions okay, and they had, the price is nothing, it's just something symbolic. I think you get a bottle of vodka, something stupid like that, and I think it was Sweden and Russia, a Swedish person and a Russian people, they were the last in the sauna. So you basically go into the sauna and it's whoever lasts the most in the sauna wins, okay? And I don't know if you guys have ever been to a sauna. Sauna is a freaking hot place. It is very nice for 10 minutes. After that it becomes excruciatingly horrible, because you are getting dehydrated in real time. It is great to sweat off a lot, and it just feels right after you do like exercise, like heavy weightlifting, or if you go to the swimming pool or something like that. It's just a fantastic thing. I love saunas. But doing a competition for sauna shows that us males, okay, are willing to compete in the most stupid things ever for no discernible gain. There's no big prizes, as I said. And these two guys were in the sauna, I think it was something ridiculous, like 30 hours, okay? And at that point, your nostrils become desiccated and they start burning. And your ears are burning. Like literally, you're probably peeling off skin. And it's just not good for you to be on the sauna. So the winner will be the one that could leave the sauna on his own means. Neither of them will leave the sauna. They basically collapsed. They needed to be removed from the sauna. One of them died. I think the Russian guy died. And the other one had severe burns and like he's gonna probably be scarred for life. So video games, board games, anything that brings itself to competition for the male mentality, it will be a competition. We will compete about the stupidest things. And then when you go to play when you go to play board games like Warhammer, you're gonna find very, very competitive people to the point of being nauseating assholes on doing that, which is fine and well if everybody's going to do that, because that's the spirit. But going for full circle, Dungeons and Dragons is a very cool hobby, but be very careful with the people you play it with, because you're gonna open yourself to situations where you might not want to be within a crowd of adults, because it's a you're pretending to be someone, so you have excuses to actually act in ways that you wouldn't act because of social decorum. And sometimes you don't know if that person is acting like that because that's what the character is and they want to show that they can play a character like that, or because that's a philia, that's something that they would like to do in real life, and this is just giving them a venting space to actually do that at the expense of other people at the table, if it makes any sense. So I don't mind high fantasy, but I'm more into low fantasy. Same for me. I agree with that. I like low fantasy because it's easier. The suspension of disbelief is easier to actually achieve. And I am a daydreamer. If you put me in the mountains where I'm from in Asturias, I am going to daydream. I used to daydream quite a lot. Going trekking on the mountains, I will daydream, like, look at those caves. Probably there are goblins there, you know. It's such a nice place to actually do that. And I'm a daydreamer, so low fantasy makes it better. I like the Age of Seeker models and world, but I always prefer fantasy. I consider the two separate universes. There, yeah. But Dungeons and Dragons, especially more recently, seems very high fantasy. Look, it used not to be the case. Okay, we will have the classic fantasy creatures: elves, dwarves, halflings, orcs, hobgoblins, etc., etc. There was a lot, but your character choice was limited to a few of these races, and moreover, this is second edition I'm talking about. Okay, probably first edition the same, but I'm not very savvy about it. And moreover, your race will also define which type of character you could be. Like humans, they had the advantage that they could be any type of character, but for instance, elves, they couldn't be certain things. Like, I don't think they couldn't be a rogue or other things. It was limiting, but it was a way of balancing, and it gave you, like, if I want to be an elf, I have to be this way. Nowadays, you can be a tiefling, you can be a draconian or a dragonborn, I don't know what's the name right now. You can be things that back in the day were limited to usually antagonists or very, very special characters. So if everybody's half a demon and half a human, if everybody is a Kenku, if everybody is this or that, then nobody's special anymore. You know what I mean? If everybody is a high elf lord with a unicorn pet, I'm being a little bit facetious here, but if everybody is that kind of special, then nobody's special. Nobody's special. And this is the conundrum that we have nowadays with modern fantasy role plays, is that a lot of people have this protagonist syndrome and they want to be the most special thing ever, the most beautiful character ever, whereas when we used to play Dungeons and Dragons, we will roll the dice and we will get whatever we got in the dice, and that was it. The dice were at the beginning of a rolling of a character, you basically were very, very, very limited to the options that you will have, unless you were crazy lucky. And as I said the other day, limitations are the mother of creativity. If you limit things, you're gonna get super creative to make for the lack of certain things. So hello Rowan. Need to varnish the stumps. I think I'm done. Wow, okay. Be careful with humidity so you don't get it screwed up. Rowan is here. I think Dungeons and Dragons needs to get back to being a design your own world kit rather than a set canon. You know what? I really like Forgotten Realms at the beginning. It sounded like a super interesting place, but now it's such a high fantasy, well-developed world with so much stuff going on and so difficult to follow that it's just, I get bored about it. You need to be way into the canon of what is happening to actually enjoy it, and that pisses me off. I'm sorry. I like normal history, and it's just so vast that if you give me yet another layer of history into something that is not real, you're losing me a little bit, okay? Because ain't nobody got time for that. Not here. And yeah, I think it should go back to that. Design your own world and you're gonna be okay. It was rare to even qualify to play an elf. Absolutely. You need, by the way, yeah, you just remind me something. You needed to roll the appropriate rolls, and we used to play rolls in order. You will roll things, and if you got anything like a 9 or something, you were screwed. And you will put them in order. You get charisma here, you get the strength here, you get this here, and that was it. Okay? And if you were lucky to get an elf, okay, cool job, man, you have an elf. Alright, you're gonna be the only elf in the party because there are not that many people rolling that high. I like that limitation. I really it felt special to have certain characters. Oh my god, I roll high enough to have a semi-elf, a demi-elf. Okay, I'll do that. That's freaking awesome. You will get 1 every 10, but that was fun. This is what interests me about it. I don't really have too much interest in canon world elements, and I'm more interested in telling my own story in a world that I created. Yes, that's my I used to make my own campaigns and my own world, and everything was like that, okay? But I'm sure there are probably other game systems that are like D&D, but maybe a bit more streamlined. I'm gonna give you a couple of examples right here, and one of them is Forbidden Lands. Forbidden Lands is a very cool game from what was the name? Something the Freeing League. Okay, I got it. It's lower fantasy. It's high fantasy still, but it's lower fantasy than Dungeons and Dragons, and it has a very cool mechanic on how you actually play it. I think it's a very interesting concept. You should look into it. And the good thing about it is, if you get players who have been playing Dungeons and Dragons, they might be curious about it, and they are not savvy enough to max min it or min max it. So they will be willing to learn from you. The setting is already set, but you can always take the rules and make your own setting. You know what I mean? And it's an hex exploring map. It's very cool. Just looking into it, I think you will like it. There is another one that is called Dragon Bane, if I'm not mistaken, and it's also from the same company, and it's more old school, and you can find plenty of stuff online. Look, there are so many role-playing games out there. Just try one of them, okay? Rowan is absolutely correct. This is why he loves Dungeons and Dragons Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Sorry, not Dungeons and Dragons. Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. Why did I even say Dungeons and Dragons? Because you are a scum. You're a rat catcher. You are this and that. You're like you are somebody that for a living goes into the sewers to just make sure that nobody's living in there. You are what we are, okay? I don't think I am Elon Musk. I'm just a run-of-the-mill person who is gonna encounter sometimes difficult situations, and that's where role-playing comes into play. Because if you are Sigval the Sexth with the Vorpalin sword of smiting +5, and I will kill anybody just coming close to me, because you know you're handsome, you're strong, you're composed, you have all these traits. It's like, really, yes, I understand that some of us would like to be, you know, 6'5" and bench press 250 kilos and have deep voice that you can use singing, and you know, all these traits that you can get in a character in Dungeons and Dragons. You can look gorgeous and feel gorgeous and feel like the fate of the world holds in your hands. But I want to actually pretend to be someone like me, average run-of-the-mill person, and see how I will fare into situations that are not at you know, you cannot encounter situations like in Dungeons and Dragons in the real world. And I would love to feel like, if it was me in Dungeons and Dragons, how would I fare? Okay, if I was a guy with a strength 9 or 10, and if I had charisma, let's say 10, 11, how will I fare in a situation like that? And then I can roll the dice and then roleplay it and make it fun. I would love to see that. Hello beneath the flagstones, evenings. How are you doing, mate? We are painting a row here, and I just did the meh face before we start doing some glazing. Here we are. Okay, we're gonna do the usual stuff. We're gonna go with cool colors, and then we're gonna do this as a kilt, as a tartan from, we say, the McDonald's. Sorry, my gosh, I'm coughing on everything today. I hope I didn't get a cold. From, we say, the McDonald's of Sleet. And for you that you don't know what the heck I'm talking about this one in the middle, okay? McDonald's of Sleet. Alright, so now, first of all, glazing, and then we do the subtle tartan pattern that we have here. All right. Yeah, I've been knocking out a lot of stuff. I was off this weekend. On Saturday, I went for a walk on Bucharest. As I said, the weather was absolutely amazing. And it was like, okay, look, I've been working the whole week and doing... I painted quite a lot this whole week. I need to take my wife somewhere. I need to go for a walk with Maria. And we enjoyed a lot. We ate... my friend, well, I brought a friend as well. We ate a big cholang. Cholang is like a leg shank of lamb. And then we walked like 14 kilometers for, you know, walking up and down Bucharest. And yesterday... What did I do yesterday? Oh yeah, yesterday I went for some airsoft with some former students. It was a blast, literally, and we just had a very nice weekend. But today it was like, yeah, I need to paint something, man. I really feel the itch to paint stuff, so I did that. Okay, today I'm not gonna do Drakenhof Nightshade. Today I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get Amethyst Blue, this one, and I'm gonna mix it with the medium, this one, and then we're gonna get a glaze that I'm gonna use in the cape. So we get a different color, okay? It's not the usual black. It's gonna be more of a purplish color. Let me show you how it looks like. There he is. A little bit of that. And it worked quite well with this guy who we finished the other day. Remember, we got that for here. We did some glazing with green and it worked quite well. So I'm gonna start doing more glazes like that with the medium. Medium is such a useful tool and quite often overlooked by most people because they don't understand what is going to happen. But if you mix it with medium, you're basically reducing the quantity of the the pigment in the paint, so it becomes a little bit more liquidy. And by becoming more liquidy, I think it's gonna work fine. It's gonna do this. Let's water it down a little bit and we're gonna get a nice purplish cape. So it still keeps with the tone of somebody that hides in the shadows, but it's not black, okay? Let's try to see what happens from that yellow. Were you impressed by Cape Verde against Spain or just angry? I wasn't watching the game. I was hanging out with some colleagues and the game was happening inside, but our conversation was so good that I just didn't pay any attention to it. Spain has a tendency during the World Cups to perform quite averagely. Okay, we are one of the favorite teams for many competitions, and then we go there and it's like we deflate ourselves. I have no idea why. Don't ask me. So I'm glad that a small team actually, you know, does that, because that shows the spirit. That shows the spirit. And competitions, they I don't know if you guys played any probably you did, competing games or sports or things like that. And when you're playing on your element and you're like, you know, you're feeling no pressure, you perform quite well compared to when there is some pressure on top of you. And that's where you see if the character of an athlete is where it should be. I'm not an athlete by any means, okay? But I've noticed that whenever I play any games and I'm just chilling, I perform better because I'm not thinking about the consequences. Once you start caring a lot about something, that's when things start sucking, at least for me. Some people can lock in. Me is when I'm just like, whatever, and things just flow. So I noticed that in video games as well. When I used to play Battlefield 6, I was playing Battlefield 6 before I started streaming. Now I like streaming more than playing Battlefield 6 by a huge margin. But when I was playing Battlefield 6, if I just came back from work and say, I'm just gonna play a game, everything was much better than when I was like, okay, I won the last 2 rounds. My team did well, I have a good KDR. Let's lock in. Nah, it doesn't work for me. And I guess some athletes are like that. They just need to chill. There is this guy who's a legend in Muay Thai, and I forgot his name. Senchai. Sanchai, whenever you see him doing training, he's enjoying it. Whenever he's doing, or he used to fight competitively, it was as if he was playing with the other person, okay? He was hard as nails. He was very powerful, but he never seemed to be super serious about what he was doing. He was just enjoying it. And by enjoying it and not locking in that much, he seemed to be having so much fun and also doing better than their opponent. This is our problem in England. We have a really massive and high pressure domestic league and then come to the World Cup exhausted. I guess that's part of it, okay? And it's a national pride, but your money is mostly in winning the games for your team, like Real Madrid or Barcelona or Manchester United or whatever. And then when you go to these places, it's like, man, I have enough money in the bank and I'm done, okay? If you ask me as a teacher now in the holidays, in the summer break, to perform at the same level that I performed, for instance, during March or April, when people are really ready for the final exams and whatnot, I just can't. I've given it all already. So I guess it's something like that. You've done as much as you can. Where is my Drakenhof Nightshade? There he is. Okay, here we go. So that's part of the equation as well. First of all, maybe you're caring too much. Secondly, maybe you're just burned out of working so much. Alright, let's go to all the blues, the turquoise as well, with Drakenhof Nightshade. Okay, we have a purple cape. Now let's darken this Drakenhof. Let's darken this turquoise with a little bit of Drakenhof Nightshade. Change the tones already because the highlights are going to be different. And then we're going to have a darker blue. This actually, by the way, I just noticed something, and just tell me if I'm right or not. But if we paint it like this, look at that. When it dries, it looks like the old Ultramarines blue. Are you getting any ideas, Miguel? Maybe. Maybe I'm getting some ideas. Maybe it's giving me some ideas here. I don't know. We'll see about it. Let's see how it looks at the end. Because it looks like a very nice 3 combo. Okay. So let's see. A ver. Maybe I'm getting some ideas with this. So you ordered the handle, eh? Yeah, you're gonna enjoy it. I promise you. This thing, this stupid thing with the magnet that you can't rotate. This is so comfortable for painting. Look at this. Oh, okay, let's go to the other side. Oh, let's go to this side. It's such a comfortable thing to do. It's so good. All right, here. All right, here. All right. Vale. I think this is okay. And now some of the leather here, some of the wood, and some of the metal. This is an easy guy to paint. I think the tartan is the one that is going to take the longest time. But look at that. I like this purple. It's actually such a good thing. Look at that. So this is I'm gonna copy this. I think I like this more than mixing the purple like I did with my necromancer the other day. So we go from ultramarine blue, then we hit it with ice yellow, and then I mix a little bit of amethyst blue, this guy, amethyst blue, which is purple basically, a dark purple, with some medium, and go and do a glaze on top of that. How does it look? Very nice purple. I like it. Very cool. Very, very cool purple. Very easy. Psst. I always need tips on painting blue. Painting blue is such a bitch, right? It's such a sometimes it's just, what the heck is with this color? Red is a no-brainer most of the time. I don't know why. Blue has its perks. I think it's you know, this great painter from Spain that does contrast, heavy contrast. His name is Juan Hidalgo, and he has such a good YouTube channel. If you want to go above and beyond on painting with contrast, he's super. He's also a jeweler by profession, so he's just very good with his hands. Okay, And I think that the color he hates the most painting is blue. So for somebody who's that good at painting, if he hates blue, yeah, that's something that tells you, okay? Juan Hidalgo. Bueno, vamos a hacer aquí a little bit of what should we call it? My friend here. Where are you? Where are you? Agrax's shade. Let's do that. They used to say yellow was the worst color, but I've never felt that. Well, I think you were young, Rowan, but it was the worst color. I promise you. The worst color because the pigments probably were not high quality and it was just so many layers to get proper yellow coverage. It was awful to paint yellow. Absolutely horrible color to deal with. Nowadays, every single yellow paint that I have, it's fantastic. It's such an easy thing to do. And we also learn a lot of things. Because if I had known back then that with those paints, if I painted pink before and I painted yellow after it, I will get such a nice coverage, I probably would have done it. But it was yellow and yellow and yellow and yellow. Sunburst yellow, the one from Citadel, the one that came in the 94 collection of paints. Oh my words, it was such a freaking awful thing to deal with. Okay, now I need to do this red, okay? Now I highlighted it already with my, what should I call it? With ice yellow. And I have these two, and I think I'm gonna use scarlet red, see? Which is a little bit orange, and I'm gonna do the same thing as before. I want to kill down these highlights, but I'm gonna try something else. Wait, bear with me. I'm gonna try something else. I'm gonna just not use the medium. I'm just gonna water it down and see if I can glaze it with a very simple watered down version of it. So there is a small drop of water in there. The paint is okay. I'm gonna water it down in my pot, and this is the consistency I'm looking at. Okay, let's see if I can glaze it like that. It's a little bit too thick, a little bit less. Maybe not. Maybe I needed to do a little bit more with medium because it's going into the recesses and it's not actually working the way I want it to work. I just wanted to try to cut some corners. But let's try, okay? It doesn't matter. I can always go back and shade it. As I said, shading is very easy with contrast or this type of paints. What is not easy is highlighting, but this is more of a solid paint, and let's deal with that accordingly. All right, I can see through it a little bit. Now that it's drying, maybe it's gonna be a little bit better. But we want this cape to be like this cape, no, this kilt to be the contrast color, to be the focal point. Okay, see, everything is kind of like, this is a little bit warm though, but everything is like cool. Okay, and this shield, should I put something in it? I think I can paint it with this, so we have a tie-in, and then we can put like a small freehand on it. There we go. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah, Sunburst yellow was not a gentle color to paint. Let's put it that way. It was not fun. It will give you more work than actually was worth doing with it. So I don't miss it. I think I still have a pot somewhere, but I don't miss it at all. All the newer yellows are good. There was this range of Citadel paints that they came up with in the 2000s, which were very thick and they were basically base colors, but I don't remember the name of them. They were super high pigment and they were meant for that, just to paint the base of miniatures, and you could start working from there. But I forgot those names. They were not long-lived. That's another thing that pisses me off from Games Workshop, is that they change their mind quite often on products, and then all of a sudden you find yourself once again trying to find colors that take the place for the ones that you were using consistently for years. Like me, for instance, I was using shining gold. I use shining gold in so many things. And then all of a sudden I find out that shining gold is not made anymore. So I need to find a different one. And then there was this brand who people say, no, these are the same brands that Citadel Colors were in the 80s. You know, they have been making paints for miniatures for all these years, and that's exactly the colors that you need. Okay, they have shining gold. Yes, they have shining gold. I buy shining gold. That shining gold is not the same shining gold that I used to buy. So I now have two shining golds, one that I finished and I cannot find, and then I have a new shining gold that I'm not using because it's not exactly the same color that I wanted. But I somehow secured a shining gold pot on eBay from the 90s. We're talking about the 94 range, which is the hexagonal pots, and I paid quite a penny for it. But I like brands like Vallejo, which are very consistent with their paints. You know, even if they change the formula, the paints more or less look the same. But that's me. I need just to make sure that whenever I paint an army or something like that, armies are the problem. Everything else, characters, you know, I don't care. Psst. If I paint a character with these paints or those paints, it doesn't matter because it's just one-off. But if you paint armies, if you paint huge armies through years and years and years, you want some kind of stability, because you just get used to a rhythm and a color scheme, and changing paints is such a chore sometimes, and that's why you have conversion charts. There is a conversion chart, by the way, in the members area. There is a folder. I don't know, probably need to update the members area messages so you can see that. And you also need to join my Discord channel, those of you who are new in the members. But there is a conversion chart that I made, which if you're painting with contrast and you don't find the contrast paint, or you don't want to pay that much money for the contrast paint, this is the equivalent in AK, and this is the equivalent, I think, in Citadel and AK and Vallejo. I did those. I'm not sure if Army Painter as well, maybe. Coat the Arms, thank you, David. Yes, Coat the Arms. I have Coat the Arms paints, and the ones that I got are not the same. Okay, I got Bestial Brown, and it's not the same as Bestial Brown from Fantasy back then. Similar, not really. It's more chocolatey. It's not as reddish. And then I also got Shining Gold, as I said, and it's not the same type of paint. Okay, before we do the pattern, I'm gonna get some white. Okay, so we do those extra highlights here on that thing. White, I don't know if I want to do it white though, although white is usually the best highlight for the end game. But before that, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try to paint those eyes, those barely seeing, you know, they are very, very, you can barely see those eyes. Let me see if I can focus on a little bit, just a little bit more. Okay, simple paint job, nothing to write home about. Okay, as usual. I like the blue though, but I'm not really sure if it looks kind of like the old Ultramarines. It looks like a nice combo actually for a librarian in Warhammer 40k. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but it looks, I like that blue. It's like the classic, I think it looks very much like the classic Ultramarines blue, honestly. I don't know, maybe I'm just dreaming about it. Alright, let's do the eyes. Very, 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 very thin black. There is something at the tip of my brush. I'm just checking it, and I see a small hair or something. You see that? That's not bueno. That needs to go away. That's gonna screw that detail. I think I got it. Let's see again. Lo vamos a probar. Let's see. Okay, that's sharp. Vamos allá. I hate this. Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to put it closer to my face, or my face closer to it, so I can see it. Okay, let's see, so everybody can see what I'm doing. Jesus Maria Jose. Okay. And then I'm gonna do something here. I could do like a...
Beyond the gray, beyond the noise, there are distant
like a
lands of
letter.
plastic
Let's
and
see.
static grass, where
There.
heroes rise.
Something like that. Like he belongs to an order or something. I don't know. I'll make up the story afterwards. Alright.
Kids again.
Now that I did that, let's get some ice yellow on my palette. And some white as well. Where's my white? Here. So I can do the flagstones. We need the flagstones. Haha. Just done my human captain from Terror in the Dark. Will please. And please post it also on Rust the Wash and your channel, please. Okay, so we can see it in many different places. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Let me do the base. I'm doing the base now because I need to still highlight some things, and we just killed 2 birds, one flagstone. We killed 2 birds, 1 flagstone. On next week, the 22nd, I'm gonna be flying back to Spain. And in Spain, I have my studio. And in my studio, I have plenty of things. So please guys, start thinking now, what would you like to see from my studio? Because I'm gonna do streaming from there as soon as I get it sorted out, okay? And I would love to show you anything that you guys would like to see. Do you want to see some of my armies? Do you want to see some of my board games? And remember, there are plenty of nights, so I can go in depth on something like my Vampire Counts army, show you different miniatures, show you some of my characters, some of the stuff, tell you stories of how they came to be, where did I get some minis. Some are very interesting stories, by the way, or at least very personable stories at least, okay? I can give you some background for the places where they came from, how did I paint them, when did I paint them, etc. There's a lot of story for that. I can do that for my Skaven, my Empire, my all the armies that I have. So also books, all white dwarfs, whatever you guys can imagine, okay? I would like very much to see some of your painted miniatures. You see some of my painted miniatures every night. You're just seeing them getting painted. But yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to that. And also, you know, I love doing that because it reminds me like, oh crap, I have all this stuff here I forgot about. And I need to also choose... I'm coming back to Romania on the 15th of July, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. And I need to bring with me some goodies to paint. Some stuff that is, you know, interesting to be painted. And I have really cool stuff, like limited edition stuff that I never touched, or things that are obscure and you can find only if you are in the right forum at the right time with somebody feels like, oh, I'm gonna sell these anyways. So be tuned for that, because honestly, I'm not exaggerating. I honestly have legit cool stuff that is hard to come by. Not expensive, not necessarily expensive, but just legit hard to come by things that I really want to paint. And I've been postponing because I'm stupid and I just thought I need to make videos about it. But you know what? Now I'm making videos about it in a different manner. Okay, look at this. You see that letter there? Let's do something cool about it. Let's give it volume. And to give it volume, I'm just gonna paint this ice yellow in one of the sides. But what is happening is I see it has the print lines, and the print lines have this capillary action that's pissing me off. It's going into there, so you have to be careful about that. Okay, more or less it worked. I just need a little bit more here and there. So we do the volumes. Here we go. Okay, some of these muscles, they need a little bit more relief. Okay, in the middle there. And I just feel final highlight in these areas. Now we need to paint the pattern on this.
Where everything is grim. It's time to color it up.
Interesting. A lot of people have been asking me about moon phase. Where did I get it from? And I cannot answer to that. Gabriel is the one who can answer to that, but I don't know where moon phase comes from. If you guys have any idea on where that miniature has been sculpted, where you can get it, so I can answer to the people asking me this question, because I really, if you want to get something and I know where to get it from, I'm very happy to share it with you. I just don't know. I don't know. And yeah, I need to ask Gabriel where did he get it from, if he remembers actually where he printed that from. It's not a Kraken Studio Mini, I think, but I need to check their website, but I don't think it's a Kraken Studio Mini. If it's a Kraken Studio Mini, I'm very stupid, because it seems like his hand size is smaller than the average thing on Kraken, and therefore I don't consider it from the same range. But maybe you're right and it's a Kraken Studio Mini, but it doesn't seem to be the case. However, I need to double check. Un poquito por acá. Might very well be the case, but anyways. Okay. Alright, let's get some white. And then after that is just small details. Okay, white. Let's see if it's actually sharp enough, because now I need to paint the eyes. Whew. Okay, I cannot breathe now. Okay, some final highlights. Sorry, I'm not talking now because I need to hold my breath. Oh, in some cases. And besides, I think you guys hear me quite a lot anyways. Sometimes I just speak way too much. That's what my wife says. Here, this point. I always like these small points in the capes to get that final highlight that brings it all together. See, this is what I mean, right? Let's put it a little further away, like that. Okay, let's get a couple of dots in the eye, the pupils, but I need to get it. Oh, this is metal. Oh, no, not that one. This metal looks so similar to black that you have to be careful. A ver. Okay, let's see. There. A ver. Somehow. I'm not gonna risk it too much, because then I get too excited and things happen. Okay, done. And the lines here. Then we go to the final tartan pattern, the McDonald pattern. whilst that dries, we can go and shade other things. There we are. Was it an old Citadel 2080 mini from the 80s? No. This is, well, if it was, I don't know, but not this one. This one is definitely made of resin, 3D printed, not at all that type of mini. Okay, you see here, now I see that this arm has a little bit too much of that white highlight, so I'm just gonna glaze it very slightly with vivid flesh, which I just watered down, so we get some of that flesh color again, but a little bit more subtle than before, just to make sure that we still get that kind of thingy. And also here, and that's it. We're gonna call it a day with the flesh, and then we can go back to that last feature, which is the tartan. Okay, he looks menacing, he looks angry, he looks exactly how this type of thief should look. Before I start playing that, let me just check this belt, which I want to give it a small highlight here, in here. Always end up fidgeting a little bit too much, but anyways. Bye. That's it. A ver, let's see the pattern. Let's see the pattern. So we have, it's like this, and then you have two lines on each side of those, which we're gonna need to paint. You guys telling me this looks like black? I think it's like a dark green. What do you guys think? Or is it because it's kind of like a blackish thing? It's gonna look like dark green when it just intersects over red. Is it the color around it making it like that? I'm gonna risk it all. Go with vivid green, mix it with a little bit of black. Slightly a little bit of black. Okay? But I think it's actually green. I don't, well, I'm not gonna, let me just try doing it like this. I'm probably gonna screw it up, but okay, let's see. This is vivid green, and this is the first time I ever tried anything like this. I've seen it done by many people, but I've never tried anything like that. And I'm just gonna follow the lines that we have here. So I have this line, and I'm gonna go two more lines so there is some separation. Go under it and go on the top as well. Okay, then yeah, I think I'm gonna use green as is. So we did one line here, one, two, okay, there, like this, and one, two, this will go here. And 1, 2, it will go down here again. Okay, like that. Vale. We got the main one, and now we're gonna go here. Going all the way. So, to here. Now I need to be careful because there is a big drop at the end of the brush. And I'm being way too much. Let me just move here so I'm always centered. Okay. How many of you guys played The Witcher 3, by the way? Because it seems like there is a new DLC coming our way. Witcher 3 was one of my favorite games when I played it. ever, and I'm always reconsidering reinstalling it and playing it again. But every time that I think about getting into one of those games again, I remember how many hours I will sink into it. And I get a little bit demoralized because I could use that time, for instance, to paint the miniatures that I have to paint. Because I love video games. I'm very easily swayed into playing ridiculous numbers of hours in video games. Very easily. Like, honestly. If you look at how many hours I played Skyrim, for instance, probably around 800. And also, if you look at the hours that I played Battlefield, probably around that number. Just stupid numbers, okay? So, every time I think, I should reinstall The Witcher and maybe play all the games, it's okay, I'm still on number 2. First one I played through, number 2 I played through, Witcher 3, I just loved it every single second. Okay, here comes the moment of truth, the real deal, the fine lines around these things, because we need to paint a fine line on each side of each one of these lines. Let's see if I can pull it off, okay? That's why it's important to leave enough space between them, because otherwise it's gonna be super crowded, and I hope I left enough space between them. But I like that because we have a limited palette. We actually chose, well, you guys chose a very simple one, Tartan, that it's striking against the other colors, but it's not overwhelmingly complex and detracts everything from the rest of the miniature. I like that. So far so good, I think. How is it looking? Is it selling the point, or is it just a cheap trick? Well, I guess it's a cheap trick nonetheless. The more I move, the more I try to get out of the way from the camera. Stupid me. Another one here and here. First Tartan ever. Live. For me, by the way, okay? This is the first one I ever painted. I know it's something that a lot of people actually paint. Okay, now we're going through the horizontal lines parallel to the thick ones. And I know you need to paint tartans, for instance, in Infinity. Some miniatures, I think it's Pan-Oceania, there's like whole clans of Scottish warriors in there. Corvus Belli being another Spanish company making miniatures. Is it looking okay? Is it looking... I don't know. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna read your messages in a minute as soon as I finish this without dying in the process. But yeah, it looks okay, I guess. From a distance, actually looks quite convincing, honestly. I mean, not the best tartan out there for sure, but good enough, I guess. Okay, here, let me just finish that. I'm getting my tongue out of my mouth. I'm like, why do you think that happens? Why, when you're concentrating, you do silly things like sticking your tongue out? It's such a weird thing. And that's it. That's it. I'm gonna just gain a little bit color on this thing by using, you know, the rust effect that we have, and I'm not really convinced about it, but I'm just gonna use it. I'm just gonna put it here in the wet palette, and this guy's done and dusted. Such an easy miniature, such an easy paint job, very fun. I like that. Just put some of that on the metallic of this thing. Metal, not the metal. Metal is the Spanish. Metal. And that's it. This guy looks like he's ready to rob some people. And if they don't really convince him, he can always go from the back and stab them. There you go. ¿Qué tal, Lobo? ¿Cómo estás? Maquetilandia. Doesn't look like Ronald McDonald, so everything is alright. Yeah, so far so good. Because clowns and hamburgers in a child's place, they are sus, you know? Alright, this guy is basically it. I'm gonna just do the wash on the base, paint the sides of it, and we can call it a night. Okay, so you guys said they are bringing out a new DLC for Witcher 3. Like, thank you. It looks like a clansman. Yeah, it looks like somebody who's ready to exact justice for McDonald clan. Like, you never know. Don't piss off the Highlanders, okay? They're gonna get at you. Pues muy bien, hay que pintar. Lobo is telling us that he's painting with a friend. That's fantastic. You know, great way with a friend. Always, it's like even better because you guys can talk crap, laugh at things, share tips. You know, this is such a hobby, such a nice hobby that you can share with other people as well. So, hey Lobo, I know you play a lot of games. So, what game would you recommend for somebody that wants to start role-playing RPGs, but is not super into ultra mega high fantasy like, you know, Dungeons and Dragons? Something that is more... Okay, let me ask you in Spanish, okay? So, bear with me, guys. ¿Qué juego le recomendarías a alguien que quiera meterse a los juegos de rol y no le guste la alta fantasía como es en Dungeons and Dragons? Algo un poquito más comedido, pero que pueda encontrar gente para jugar. ¿Qué le recomendarías? Burger King Moon and Ronald McDonald. Let's see them together now, okay? As soon as I finish the base. The Tartan and Rogue combo looks really good. I think it's when I saw it, I thought this, if I paint it just with a plain color, it's just not gonna sell any stories, you know? And we always discuss that you should paint characters and miniatures like this as if they are telling a story. This guy is gonna tell a story now. He's gonna tell a story from a distance already. And actually it's quite noticeable. You see, this is the distance you will see in your screen. Well, I don't know how big your screen, but this is the distance this miniature will show up in your eyes when you're playing with it. If, by the way, here Maquetilandia Lobo is saying, if you are going to play any game that is not fantasy, but he likes fantasy, le gusta la fantasía, algo que no sea muy alta fantasía, ¿sabes lo que te quiero decir? If you're gonna play a game that is not fantasy, the Call of Cthulhu, and I know Rowan also plays that, okay? Heroine, thank you. Heroine Quest on Steam is a good old school point and click adventure with role-playing elements. Okay, look at that. Boom. Alright, let's put some Agrex on the base to make it look more dungeony. Then I'm gonna mix a little bit of yellow with that green that we just put on the base. And we call it a night today because it's 12:30. Okay, good enough. I can sleep my 7 hours and something and be ready for the challenges of tomorrow. It's just a few last days of school. We're gonna be leaving in school on Friday, is our last day. And you know, everybody's crazy. As I told you the other day, the teaching is taught, the school is schooled, but the year is not yearing. Why is it not done? The school year. And if you ever talk to teachers, and if you're a teacher, you know what I'm saying now. Whenever we say, because I know this because I told to the guys in accounting in the school, and I say, yeah, this is gonna be for next year. And when I say next year, I say next year 2027. I say no, next year September, because for us teachers, the school year is the year. Okay, we don't count from January to January. We count from September to June. That's when the year is done. The holidays, we go into a strange way of hibernation in which we sip cocktails at the beach and we forgot about everything that happened this year. That is gone. So we have the energy and the resources in our minds to actually tackle the new year. This is how this job works for us. So if you hear me saying next year, sometimes what I want to say is September, okay? And I apologize for that, because I know for not the tradesmen in my profession, it's like, what are you even talking about? It's September. So next year, when I get back into the rhythm of work and whatnot, yeah, I hope that by next year we're gonna have maybe a game or two of Advanced Quest in the channel, or maybe a stream about it, okay? Hopefully. So don't worry, it's not gonna be January, we're talking about September, after the summer. ¿Qué iba a hacer? Okay, the last touch, the crap in the dungeon. This guy is done and dusted. We're gonna see the Mr. Moon here. The moon face, for whatever reason, is the miniature that everybody is asking me about. He's a popular character indeed. People are asking on the video, where do you get a mini from? Look, I need Gabriel to tackle this question, because I have no idea. That's it, not too much, a little bit of mud. That's it. And before I move on, I'm gonna show you what miniatures I have left here, okay? So hopefully this week I can get a few more painted. Let me just move here. And, well, this guy is done. Let me just put some blue tack so we can see him in all his glory with this. And before we move on to that, okay, there he is. Aquí lo tenéis. See, the base makes such a difference in all the miniatures. There he is. I don't know what this means. It's just an A or something. We can come to the idea of what he is actually showing. That small shield. I like the knife. I really like the knife like that. Such a cool concept. It's like, okay, if this is not working, I'm just gonna get that thing and stab you in the back. The cape, very easy to paint. This cape, very fun to paint. Nothing special, okay? As I said, we did ultramarine blue, and then we did highlights with ice yellow as usual, and then we did a glaze with amethyst blue mixed with some medium, so we got it very light. This blue actually is probably one of the most interesting features of the miniature for me about the technique, because we started with turquoise, and then it was highlights with ice yellow, and then a glaze with Drakenhof Nightshade. And this blue looks like a very good candidate to actually paint ultramarines. I need to test that idea one day, but if it works, that's gonna be it. And then the Tartan McDonald, which McDonald did we say it was? Let me see. We say it's the McDonald of Sleet. McDonald of Sleet. Okay, there you go. McDonald of Sleet. Simple red. It is deceiving in there, but I think the green is the best one, because you can find this McDonald pattern in many things. So I think green is the good choice here. And because green, once you paint it over red, because they are complementary colors, they are gonna become quite dark, so it works just fine like that. And that's it. It's not a difficult miniature to paint, it's just a simple miniature. And honestly, you can use this for many things, like an antagonist of the characters, the thief that you can find in any dungeon with some encounter cards, or the thief himself within the party. He can be one of the characters in the party, and also it could be like a barbarian rogue, something like that, like a mixture of two different things. Compared to this guy, who's super popular. My gosh, why is this guy so popular? Well, I guess he's full of character. That's the size comparison. You see, guys, he's a little bit taller, so they can be pointing fingers at each other, like, hey, you. Okay, see? Different types of techniques approach for the cape. The only thing that changed is using Drakenhof Nightshade or using Amethyst Blue. So that changes the whole thing completely. Alright, there we go. So, what would you like to see painted next? Alright, I'm gonna show you some options. Let me just put this guy over here, because I don't have many minutes left. But for tomorrow, I'm gonna give you two choices. Alright, you tell me which one would you like to see. Which one is it? We need to finish all these minis. Which one is it gonna be? The zealot or the hammer guy? This guy, you know, big morning star, small dagger, also a shield here, interesting. Big pouch. He seems like, honestly, he looks like an inquisitor. He's an interesting miniature. Is he an inquisitor? I don't know. Or this guy with the big warhammer, flintlock pistol, bomb, cape. So we here, I see zealot, morning star. Yeah. So you guys would like to see this guy? Yes. We can paint some leather. We can get this shaved head to look shaved, not bald, with a little bit of wash here and there. So zealot it is then. Okay, then zealot, because I see most people is gonna choose the zealot. He's gonna be ready for tomorrow for the stream around 10:30 p.m. where I'm from. The latest 10:30, okay? So that's the guy who's gonna be in tomorrow's stream. And without further ado, my dear friends, remember the usual thing. Let me see if I can point to the logo today. No, of course it's gonna be this way. Is that this other side? Let me see if I can put it on my hand. There. This has been Rush the Wash. My name is Miguel. I'll catch you in the next stream. Un beso. Buenas noches y adiós.